Hi, my name is Prabhav Marla, and I'm a huge football fanatic. Let me give you a scenario real quick. It's fourth down, and it's the game winning drive. Your favorite player, mine personally being Tom Brady, is on the field right now. Let's just say Tom Brady gets hit and he's laying on the ground and he's unconscious. Many of the sports analysis and commentators throw around the word concussions and CTE. You might know what a concussion is, but you're wondering, what is CTE? Many players have suffered from CTE. A few honorable mentions are Aaron Hernandez, Frank Gifford, Ken Stabler, Andre Waters, and Junior Seau. That's just in the NFL who have suffered from CTE. CTE, otherwise known as chronic traumatic encephalopathy, is a brain disease caused by constant traumatic blows to the head. Concussions being the main reason players are diagnosed with CTE. My initiative today is to spread awareness about CTE and to try and make concussions less and less common. In the NFL, there have been over 1,944 concussions since 2012. Up to date, that is about a little over 200 concussions per year. This is a very alarming rate, and it's just crazy and unbelievable to think that that can happen. And this is just in the NFL alone and not worldwide. The NFL is trying their best to stop and make concussion rules stricter and tighter. This is a remarkable effort, but it is still not enough, and there's data to back this up. And what they have done so far, though, is really amazing as well. They have created stricter helmet to helmet rules, which is when two players collide with both of their helmets, causing one or both players to have a concussion, which is a major possibility in helmet to helmet collisions. Most players who lead with their helmet may get fined, suspended, or ejected from the game. Suspension being the hardest punishment, which I personally feel like most players who lead with their helmet and cause another player to get injured should be suspended for a period of games. One of the main rules being helmet to helmet rules are forbidden and to lead with their shoulder, causing them to not collide with their helmets. In the 2018 spring, the NFL implemented these rules, and officiating crews, which are referees, went to players' spring training camps, which is their off-season workouts and practices, to furthermore teach players, staff, and coaches about these rules. I truly think this is remarkable that refs and the NFL as a whole care about player safety and player health. This is just amazing. Not only will this rule affect this generation, but it will also affect future generations as well. Many parents and coaches for young players who want to play football are concerned about CTE because of the alarming rates of concussions in the past few years. CTE and concussions have stopped many young football players' careers that have been stopped early. CTE is such a horrible and drastic disease, and many horrible things can happen. CTE will not only affect the person living with this condition, but it'll also affect the people's family and friends around them. Everyday life and normal activities will become harder and harder as you're impaired more and more because of this disease. CTE effects are very drastic, and many medical experts say CTE can lead to dementia, which is a brain disease that can cause long term memory loss. This is just horrible. The term CTE means to describe degeneration, which is the loss of neurons and cells in the brain. The loss of neurons can cause many things, such as mood swings and anxiety. What can we do to help people with CTE, though? That's my question to you guys. What I learned is there's a website called What is CTE? If you go on Google or any search browser, you can easily find this website. This website will help you gather more knowledge about CTE with many amazing videos and paragraphs to help you learn more about the CTE. They also accept donations, which is very helpful to furthermore figure out what is CTE and what is it doing to our brain or a person living with it. To furthermore study, go to whatiscte.com. Such websites are truly impactful since they're educating the public, such as me and you, about this horrible disease. In other words, it is super, super important to proactively and push change and actions. These change and actions are more powerful than what our words are saying. If we can initiate this change, the whole world can know about this horrible disease, and many people can find out what can we do to stop this, especially in the NFL with their alarming 200 concussions per year. As I mentioned before, Andre Waters, Andre Waters was a safety that played for the Philadelphia Eagles. They had a nickname for him in the league. You might be asking, what is that nickname? It shouldn't be too bad. In the league, they called him Dirty because of the way he violently played. He would constantly collide his head with the other player's head. This is a helmet to helmet. These rules were not yet implied in the NFL yet because this was back in the early 2000s and late 90s. He paid a huge price for his recklessness, and he suffered over a dozen concussions in his 11-year career. These are just the concussions that are recorded. We may not know how many he actually had. 12 concussions per year, if for the data that we already have, is one concussion per year. In an interview with Andre Waters, they asked him, "Hey, how many concussions do you think you've had?" He responded, "I think I lost count at 15." 15, that's ridiculous, is what we all must be thinking. 15. But this is his next response. He wouldn't say anything. He'd say, "I'd sniff some smelling salts," and then go back. This is just absurd. Him not caring about these concussions and what they can do to your brain is just horrible. And that he would continue to go out there and play. After his NFL career ended, this caused him to have major depression because of the degeneration of brain cells in his brain. On November 20th, 2006, Andre Waters would take his own life. He was only 44 years old. His family had many suspicions about why he committed suicide. They knew it was just not because of the depression, or it was just not because of the depression. A few weeks after his death, his family took his brain, and his body that was still left to a neuropathologist. And his name was Dr. Bennet Omalu. Neuropathology is the study of diseases in the nervous system tissue, which are normally performed with small biopsies or whole body biopsies. This is a statement that many reporters got from Dr. Omalu. Dr. Omalu stated his brain was close to a 85-year-old man who had early on stage Alzheimer's. This is just crazy for him to have a brain that is double his age and to have early onset Alzheimer's is just horrible and showed the impact of the concussions and CTE over the years. Dr. Omalu said Andre had severe brain damage and was caused because of these dangerous hits. Although Andre Waters' death was very sad, it created awareness about these type of hits and these type of concussions, and to make sure that if you have a concussion, you should not be playing and playing. Since then, the NFL has been creating more and more restrictions like the ones we named earlier to help prevent many others from suffering like Andre Waters. We thank Andre Waters for his sacrifice, though we are very heartbroken because he was such a great player and he took his life so early. So, let's just recap on what we learned. CTE is a dangerous brain disease caused by constant traumatic hits to the head. Concussions are the main cause for CTE. CTE will not only affect the person living with it, but also friends and family around them. CTE can cause depression, mood swings, and anxiety. Finally, CTE and concussions cause neurons in our brain to die or be lost. In the end, can lead to many mental diseases such as Alzheimer's and dementia. Thank you.